Hey, how y'all doing out there again? Welcome back to Idea My Time. My name is Angelo, and bring another episode, a great one. Once again, we'll ask you to hit that like button and subscribe to this channel that we can continue to bring you more and more good episodes. Got a great friend of ours in here today. Actually, I'm just meeting in person for the first time, yet I heard about this guy for a really, really long time. I could introduce yourself?
Oh yeah, I'm Dave Moore.
Dave Moore.
Right? Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
It's my first time on a damn thing here.
It's all right. Just feel comfortable at home.
Right.
So, Dave Moore, what you do? What you do here in the city of Detroit and outside in the suburb area?
For a number of years in this here town, probably since about '77, I've been doing the auto repair industry, collision work.
Okay.
Also, a lot of energy and effort over the years put into custom stuff.
Yeah.
Custom cars, custom builds of major vehicles and stuff. Got a lot of time in on some metal sculptures and worked with Yosemite Sam and his brothers and the West Side back in the 70s and 80s, building chop top, suicide door, limousines, supercharged cars.
Right.
Lot of labor of love, big art projects, metal, real involved in the Charles H. Wright Museum sculpture that's there, installed it, painted it.
Okay.
Did that one, painted some stuff on the front lawns of those colleges, and put a lot of time and energy into that kind of stuff too. Painted the Detroit People Mover train.
Wow.
Did a lot of big projects in the city.
Yeah.
For many years, and then a whole bunch of standard collision. But I was really into custom car building when I was younger.
Custom car building. And I see this goes way back to the 70s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 70s, 80s. Those were the years where I was really putting a lot of time in for that stuff.
So what it sounds like to me is somebody can bring you a car, you can pretty much do anything they want you to do to it.
We do that right now still. I got a crew for that. The prices have gone up on that subject over the years. It's gotten to be pretty popular though. I mean, people still are doing a lot of high-end builds. We do about 6 or 7 really high-end builds every year. But I mean, right now we're getting into heavy truck, a lot of buses, a lot of heavy truck repair. The labor rates on that are good.
Okay.
And I've kind of gone down that road. But we still got a lot of custom cars in my shop all the time. I haven't shook it, but I don't go after it as much.
So I assume you work with a lot of big names, huh?
I got over the years, there's been a lot of dudes from the Tigers and flying out to California and working on cars with Yosemite Sam and his brother Rick James's 34 Ford. We worked on the Blake Edwards, Julie Andrews car collection out there in Anaheim back in '83. Melissa Manchester's guitars, Evil Knievel's motorcycles, the Yosemite Sam van. Those were through working at Yosemite Sam's.
Wow.
And then, I have also done a lot of vehicles for people from out of state, stretching their Eldorados, and I can't remember them all,
Right.
over the years. But yeah, a lot of fancy folks for fancy cars.
That's big. I know I heard a lot of good things about you, as I said. Been hearing a lot of things about you from years. So, how? Of course, this is Idea My Time, and Idea My Time, as you guys know. You ever got into anything like that? You had to.
Yes, I have a story to tell about doing time. Yes,
Okay.
I in the middle of building a lot of custom stuff, and having done it for a number of years.
Right.
My business on the east side of Detroit, Trendy Auto, East Warren, there for about 15 years on East Warren, maybe 16.
Okay.
Somewhere along the line in maybe 88 and 89 area, some folks were like, hey, we want to build some like killer secret compartments in our cars and vehicles, trucks, or whatever.
Right.
And can you do it and will you do it? And I'm like, oh, I was 26 and full of,
Right.
And I was like, hell yeah, I can build anything kind of a thing.
Wow.
And so built, some pretty extreme secret compartments.
Secret compartments. Sound like something we hear about on TV, most definitely.
Yeah.
We're definitely hearing about it now in one of the episodes on there. But yeah, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, they're still around, I hear, but I gave a little talk on them recently. But yeah, so the thing that I did like the most at first is I took some pickup trucks and I cut them sideways and built double bottom floors in them.
Wow.
Which in 1989, 88, I don't think it was being done much. I think we were about the first guys to do such a thing. So they held a whole bunch of stuff in them,
Okay.
you know, 108, that's what I heard. But 8-foot beds, you know, with about a 4¼ inch gap from end to end. And
Right.
they were very, you know, they were big jobs. You know, it took 5 weeks of night and day busting ass, and there was extreme changes to the bodies to make them look like it never happened. You know, we would raise the cab a little and drop the rails in the back. There was a lot of, you know, exacting subjects I could bore you with, and everything was affected from the exhaust to the...
I don't think you can bore me with this one.
Well, we put a lot of time and energy, I did,
Wow.
into making them look factory and like it had never happened.
So somebody look at that pickup truck, it looks like...
It was factory. They were brand new, and they were double bottom, and I ended up building about probably 7 or 8 of those.
Double bottom pickup truck.
And you know, and I don't know. I mean, I charged at the time $20,000, which was probably quite a bit of money. It was a hell of a lot of work.
So somebody got a brand new pickup truck, and they're willing to put $20,000 into it. They gotta know that they're gonna get that back some way, somehow.
Yeah. You know, it just kind of started happening, and then all of a sudden, it was pretty damn popular. You know, I had guys coming at me. I want to put a gun in here. I want to put a spot in over here. I just want something small in the back, and you know, and it was like, holy crap, you know.
The word was getting out.
Yeah. So then I ended up doing a couple of, you know, quite a few other smaller builds, and then I actually, like, I remember I built one Nissan minivan, double floored with hopper lined in it because that was for hauling money, and oh man, it was just a whole lot going on. And a lot of the names that we read about in the papers, you know, I just knew all those guys, you know. I could just blur their names out here, you know.
That's deep.
Some of them are passed away. Maserati Rick, he was always around, and I did all his cars, and when he died, I had all his cars. And
That's a really
that's
famous
one name, right?
Really,
There's plenty
famous
more,
name.
but I don't want to sit here and carry on about
Yeah,
names
you
and shit.
don't have to, but that.
But I really got tight with a lot of those dudes, and
So they trust you.
there was a lot of it was, you know, there was no shortage of trust.
That's
There was
good.
no shortage of trust, and you know, so I didn't know if it was good or bad or right or wrong, because my part in it was custom metal work. I felt about the same as about what I was always doing.
Right.
I even went as far as to talk to attorneys at the time, and it's like, hey, is what I'm doing illegal? And it's like, literally was told, no, there's no law against what you're doing.
Because it's custom work. Like you said, it's not your business what they're doing with it.
Right.
I mean, if you assume it or not, it's still not your business.
Yeah, you know. So, I mean, I found out that it didn't go like that, you know.
Okay.
But there was a time when I, you know, felt like, I don't know. I was in and around so much, but I was having a ball, you know, and you know, I was probably doing drugs and alcohol fair amount in my life.
Right.
Wasn't entirely some kind of a sober guy, so that behavior fit right into the, you know, I'm above the law.
Right.
And that was my thinking deep in my heart. I know that's how I thought. You know, I can do anything I want, or I don't know. You know, I wasn't
You was
being,
getting money, as we say.
I wasn't being careful. I was getting money.
Yeah.
I was hanging out with dudes that were a blast. I was having a ball.
Right.
You know, I was having a good time. And so it just kept going. And then it turned into, as you know, some big bust took place, and everybody was like, where'd these vehicles come from? And you know, common sense, they found their way to me.
Okay. So somebody literally got caught in one of the vehicles that you did. And
Yeah, there was,
pointing at you.
basically, there was like 2 or 3 of these trucks that came in at once with a really big load, and the bus was really big, and the indictments were 19 people on the indictments. I was on one of them, and it was everybody that I knew.
Right.
And so then that's when I learned, you know, legally for the attorneys that I had to get at the time that, you know, basically I was part of a conspiracy, and that the definition of a conspiracy was a legal act and an illegal act resulting in an illegal act, and even if you did what was legal, if you knew what it was for, blah, 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 blah.
So that goes back to you asking an attorney before.
Yeah.
Before, was it illegal? And it didn't sound too illegal to him.
Right.
Yeah, now they try to point the picture that it was illegal because you have to know or have some type of idea.
Part of the conspiracy. Yeah.
Part of the conspiracy.
That became the catchphrase, and then as I was explained to me by my attorneys, they said you're in a heap of trouble,
Oh,
a
now
heap,
it's trouble. Wow.
and so it's conspiracy to distribute hundreds of kilos throughout southeastern Michigan, mandatory 25, minimum 25, mandatory life, whatever the numbers. So everything was big and ugly and terrible.
Right.
And
So it felt like everything was crashing down at that moment, huh?
it really was. It was pretty damn scary.
Wow.
It's pretty damn scary, and I look back on it now, and I'm not really ashamed of how I handled it. I stayed right in my business every day and just kept going.
Right.
And what a ride it was.
Wow, because usually at this moment I would ask a person what year was that or whatever, but I don't really want to get into details because this sounds very serious. So, but now your name's got called.
Yeah, all of a sudden I was a different guy. Because I had a large clientele doing the whole east side where I grew up, Rose Point area, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
A lot of wonderful people, a lot of wonderful customers. Then there was this crazy story attached to me all of a sudden.
Wow.
That's how it felt for me.
Right.
And
people looking at you sideways.
a little different, yeah. Some people looking at you different, probably plenty of them. And and even myself, I was like, damn, what did I do? And what the fuck, what was I thinking?
Right.
And so it was, I guess it needed to happen. I mean, I had to sit there and think myself, am I a good person? Am I a bad person? What the hell am I?
Right.
And there was a time, to be brutally honest, when I was always convinced I wouldn't get caught up in, I'm not a drug dealer, I'm not moving any drugs, I'm just welding.
Right.
But it honestly, it got beyond that. It got bigger than that.
Right.
And I was so caught up in it, people trusted me so severely that they made sure I was in on things that I wouldn't normally be in on. And,
Right.
and then all of a sudden, I wasn't as scared as I used to be of it. I wasn't, which is shocking. Yeah, because I was really clear I didn't want to be in and around. But I got some easy money a couple of times. And I kind of liked it. And but still, I was always questioning my behavior and stuff.
Right.
I don't know what the hell I'm saying because I've never really talked about it, honestly in depth. How did you get there? What caused it? And it was important to me to be a good person. And I was just like, what am I doing?
Right. Right.
I don't know. I'm just trying to remember. It's so long ago, but it was intense and it was big and it was, and if you didn't handle it correctly, you were going to lose 12, 15, 20 years of your life. Most everybody on the indictment, they were all getting handed down 12 years. There was lots of killings on my case. People were getting shot. It was all the way live,
Right.
And so, I don't know. I ended up doing very well. I was a first-time nonviolent offender. I got me inside of 30 months, which means I was eligible for boot camp, so that I could go to boot camp for 6 months, federal boot camp. Went to prison for a month to get ready to go to boot camp for 6 months, and I'm a pretty damn lucky guy, because there's a lot of people. You know how that goes, the way people get sentenced. There's people that did way more than me and way less than me, and they got all kinds of different sentences. And
Right, because that was a big conspiracy. I mean, it was, how many guys was in on it? How many people?
Well, 19 were indicted.
19.
I mean, it was big. The thing for me is it's a little scary, uncomfortable to tell stories, to get excited about the story. The big story, how big it was,
Right.
But I've been really in some big places with big people with big amounts.
Right.
Garages full of kilos and garages full of money and whatever, like in the movies. And
Right,
shit,
right.
And I don't want to glamorize it or anything.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We are definitely not here to glamorize it, and we are not. In this conversation, we only go where you want to go. I'm not here to push you to say anything. And we spoke about that, and just to let that be known as well. And our job is, it could be people, I'm sure, that are maybe in a situation that you were in. They could be in it right now and thinking, hey, well, I'm not doing nothing or whatever. We do not want to glorify it. I mean, I did my time, as I said, and even in my situation, I talk about it, and people are like, wow, you've been around the world and things like that. Yet it's not to glorify. We're trying to see if we can help, if we can
Right.
save somebody from getting into situations we've been in. Once again, whatever a person do, it's their business. Yet, I mean, we have what they call fallen generations out there, and if we can help, that's what we ought to do. So we're not trying to push you to go.
Right, and and my thing was like, I'm afraid of myself glamorizing it because I know how excited I was
Right.
about it. I know how much fun I had.
And that's another side, because a person can look at it now and say, well, at that moment, it felt so good. Yet
Right.
now you're coming with the story to say, look how many people died, how many people got in trouble, how many people went to prison,
Right.
even you ended up getting in trouble. So that's the other side of it, Look what can happen if this happens to you.
Just when I started to talk about it and started questioning for the first time really out loud, why did I do it? Why did I keep going? I knew better. That's like I started saying that right here out
Wow.
loud because I'm talking about it and I don't ever normally. But I know the truth. The truth is, it was glamorous as hell. It was cool as hell. I was going places that I felt no other white kid was going, or something.
Right.
Right? It was just happening, and it was a lot of fun.
Did it feel like some form of addiction at that moment, that power and position, things like that?
It had to have been.
That's what
It
I
had to have
explained.
been going on. I got off on my ability to go places where no one else could go and do things that other people couldn't do.
It's a great feeling.
And hang with dudes that other people couldn't hang with, or something. There was a lot of that going on
And you was the man.
in my behavior. I was doing I'm the man too,
Yes.
thing to an apart. So I mean, I don't know. I guess it needs to be admitted to, and because you start to say, how did you follow these steps to end up in prison?
Right.
Well, that's what happened.
That's
I
right.
was being an asshole. I was having a ball. I was like, aren't I something? Look at me go, kind of
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, it's a helpful feeling.
Right? And that's how you end up in prison.
That's how you end up in prison.
How do you catch the guy when he's in that thinking mode and he's responding to, wow, I'm really something, I'm really making it, I'm really going somewhere, and the whole time he's getting ready to go to prison.
Yeah.
And that's your last minute to catch him before he goes, or something, I don't know.
That's deep.
But yeah, that was definitely part of it, the camaraderie, the fun, some of those dudes, we laughed so hard, we did the craziest shit, so, I don't know, that's how I ended up in there.
That's deep, and that's how it ends up. And yet, the good thing about it is you didn't have to spend all those years in prison for the part that you played, like a lot of people did. Mm-hmm. So you said you got 1 month, and then you went to boot camp. You did
Yeah,
1 month boot camp,
I was only gone for like about 7.5 months.
but you were it's still a phase. Was that like detention center?
Yeah, it was called the Intensive Confinement Center in Lewisburg, Pennsylvania.
Oh,
And,
Lewisburg.
yeah, right on the campus with the big house and
Yes,
the medium
sir.
security.
I've
and
been
then,
there.
Right. Okay. So
Not a pretty place.
yeah, but all we had to do was just 1 million push-ups and run till your tennis shoes burned out, and then you'd start with 200-300 people in the class, and by the time they finished, only 150 would graduate, and the other 150 would drop out. It was
Right.
no easy thing to make through.
Right.
And if you didn't do it right, they threw you out. And then you did 30 months instead of 6 months.
Yeah.
So that was part of the gig. But I got through that. But I could have certainly done. Life has been challenging enough and exciting enough and beautiful enough that I could have left the whole prison part out and had a wonderful, great life. But fortunately or unfortunately, going to prison, doing illegal shit, and is part of my story, and so I guess that's what the show's about.
That's what it's about, pretty much. So when that boot camp was over, now you're back home. I'm sure through those months you were just reflecting on what you got into. You're sober-minded now. You knew the effect of everything that happened. What was it like leaving out of that boot camp, coming back? Were you like thinking, okay, I didn't do much time, dude's gonna be pissed at me, or are they gonna say this, or are they gonna say that? Did that ever cross your mind?
No, I wanted to get my little world back together. My little world was blown up. I'd put a lot of energy. I had a full-blown business going, and that I'd put a ton of time and energy into. and only a little bit of it was secret compartments.
Wow.
And so my business really had been taking care of customers, and a hell of a lot of them, for many, many years, and fixing their automobiles and making sure they looked perfect, they were done on time, the people were happy, the deal was correct. That was how I lived my life, and I had a full-blown business. I threw in this secret compartment thing on the side, and it took over and blew the whole thing up,
Right.
as it should have, I imagine. And so I just wanted to get my life back. I knew that I knew better. I knew how to say no, because I really struggled with how to say no. That was one of my wonderful character defects that I've fought with my whole life.
Right.
And so, I can remember when I was first in prison, the guy's like, "What are you in for?" And I just said, because for saying yes.
Saying yes.
People just would talk me into shit.
Right. When you mention secret compartment, it sounds different than how in our days we used to say a box. Mm-hmm. But secret compartment takes it to another level because you knew something about individuals or vehicles that nobody didn't know. It was a secret, literally. So you walk around holding this stuff on the inside, that which was put you in the category of being very important to a lot of people here in the city of Detroit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we would have these vehicles housed in an underground garage downtown, and all of a sudden they'd start giving a bunch of phone calls and they'd start grabbing their trucks, because sometimes I would be hanging on to 2 or 3 of them for them as like a favor. And something was happening, shit was hitting somewhere out of town, and they would take them on runs. And then when they would come in, because the way they sealed up and everything, they would want me to be there oftentimes to open them up.
Wow.
Because we don't want to mess with that shit. You come over here and do this, whatever.
Wow.
Whatever. So, like I said, I've seen some stuff,
Right.
been in some places, and the trust level was very high. And
I can imagine.
It was,
Yeah, it was definitely on a presidential level, for real. It's like the secrets, and especially for them to have to call you at times and tell you to come open it, it says how specially made they were,
Yeah, I have, and this is, I don't have something that's comfortable to say on the radio and TV, but since I have built secret compartments for the DEA in recent years, a number of them.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So you went from one side of the law to the other.
Yeah, it's a true story. Yeah, I've done a couple, 3 or 4 of them for them.
That's deep. We don't want to get no more into that one.
Right, that's not popular, I don't think, to be talking
Yeah, no. I didn't even hear that, to be honest.
Right.
But, so, yeah, the thing is, it's like
They wouldn't appreciate it.
Who, I don't even know, I don't remember. But the person who you were, the person who you are, it's like, the trust was to another level, because that was more than just a person putting their life in your hands. Everything was in your hands because of what you knew and how you knew how to do it. And yeah, that puts you on like a definitely super high level of a secret knowing person,
Yeah, it was like that.
That's deep.
It was like that, It gives you. That's why I can remember the excitement building up in me, thinking about it, how it was give you an adrenaline rush kind of a thing.
Right. Right.
Being in and around that, and how do I tell someone else you shouldn't have that adrenaline rush? You shouldn't behave like I did.
Yeah.
What can I do to help? Because there isn't anything a lot of fun about blowing up your life, losing everything you own, and going to prison. It is really not a giggling fun matter.
And that's the part we want them to hear more than anything.
Yeah, it really isn't. It really isn't. And you start to think, how could I have stopped? Who could have stopped me? Who would I have listened to?
Right.
And so on. And so it's like if this particular show is about what can you do to help somebody to keep from even going into jail, not to mention once you come out, getting your life back together. Once I came out, and keeping my shit together was a lot easier.
Right.
To stay straight, want to be straight, don't want to mangle my life ever again, don't want to ever have that feeling when I stood in front of the judge and they said, yeah, a minimum 25 years, mandatory life, hundreds of kilos throughout southeastern Michigan, going through the U.S. Marshal's office and seeing all my best friends on wanted posters all through the building. That was very terrible, and I was like 28 or 29 or whatever I was, and I was like, wow, my life's gone,
And you just said seeing all your best friends' pictures on the wall. That shows the commitment you had to even say best friends, calling them your best friends. You know,
I loved my buddies.
That's
Man. We loved
awesome.
each other.
That's awesome, and that's one thing that definitely makes things work. I'm assuming how it worked. You know,
Yeah.
the thing is, it was an end to it.
Yeah, it was. But so coming out of jail, I was pretty clear that I would never make mistakes at that level again. And I never did. I never did misbehave or break laws or anything after I got out of jail. I was really asked a number of times through the years to build secret compartments.
So
Clearly said
your
no.
name was still ringing in the streets.
Yeah, I for sure always said no, and I didn't struggle with saying no. So I learned how to say no.
Learned how to say no.
Prison taught me that.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the greatest things you learned out of that situation is how to say no.
Yeah, I needed that. And then so it's been many years, and things have gone very well for me. I had to work 1 billion hours. I'm in an industry that can be pretty competitive, pretty challenging to make it work.
Right.
And so I've poured a lot of hours into keeping it together, and that's where we're at today.
Well, one thing you didn't do, you didn't give up.
No, I did
Had
not
to continue
give up.
moving forward, huh?
Not a big giver-upper.
Yeah, no, I can see because what you were in, it took a lot of guts. Yet the thing is, like I said, is to continue moving forward, And one thing is another thing we want to express. Moving forward is a big thing. You got to the point where it didn't seem like it was all over. It was pretty much all over. Coming out, getting yourself back together, how are things going for you right now today?
Ooh, yeah, I got a really, really great life today. I got a really great life, and what I put together in my little business world, that became my hobby. A lot of people put a lot of energy into different things,
Right.
And more power to anybody, whatever they're putting energy into.
Right.
I put a lot of energy into my business in the last so many years, and it was a challenging ride. And it's only now in recent years that the place doesn't kill the owner, and it's all starting to work, and
Right.
It's quite a miracle. It's a wonderful miracle that I'm very grateful for. And I can remember all of the years and years of uphill challenges.
Right.
So life is challenging enough and exciting enough without anything illegal or that could risk going to prison.
Right.
I didn't need that. I didn't. Life is fabulous. You don't want to lose your freedom. It's really awful.
Yeah, it's easy to talk about it before it happens. It's easy to make plans and things like that. Yet the thing is, when it gets to that point and you're behind bars, you're in prison, and your family's hurt and you're hurt, you think, was it ever really worth it?
Yeah, it was.
But at that moment, it's just going. It's just that adrenaline pumping, like you said, and it's a heck of a feeling to be in certain places you would never have been in and things like that. And
Yeah, it was really hard for me to get off of 8 years, a lot of big fines, a lot of big lawyers, to get from 8 years inside of 30 months. I wasn't getting inside of 30 months. I worked on it for a year and couldn't get inside of 30 months.
wow.
And when I got inside of 30 months, the relief came over me really big.
Right.
Because I knew it would be really hard to put my life back together after being gone 8 years, 12 years, 10 years.
Right.
Then when I got all the way down to 7 months, I was the most grateful guy in the world. I got away. I don't know if I'm going to say got away with murder because I had learned my lesson and everything like that. But I was pretty damn grateful when they said 7 months. I'm like, I can work with that. Right?
That's right. Hey, man, especially what was going on with a lot of other people. One thing for sure, we greatly appreciate you coming and sharing your time with us because this is a story. I never heard a story like this. This is a story that people never hear. The position that you were placed in, and you were able to change your life. You're still here with us. I'm still here from a lot of crazy stuff I've been through. And we learned that it's a blessing. And as they say, count your blessings. I'm sure every morning waking up, you like,
I tell you what, everyone should lose their freedom because it makes you grateful
It's a
for the
different
rest
life
of your
after that,
life.
right?
Yeah.
As long as you have sense afterwards.
Yeah.
Well, we definitely greatly appreciate you. You're a very busy man, and we've been waiting for you to come, and we knew the excitement was definitely